All right. So, Gil, first of all, congratulations on winning the tournament, the Eternal Format tournament today. This is a redo of our interview since we had audio issues on the last one. Unfortunately, OBS did not want to record Discord, but again, congratulations on taking the win today.
Yeah, it feels really great after all the effort I put into testing to have it pay off like this.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. It was you checked it super well. Obviously, you won. I pulled up the list here on the image you sent me for those who are watching this video after the fact. Uh, Honestly, Rapid Strike Urshifu was quite the play for Eternal.
Yeah, the thought process behind that was that Claydol, since it's so omnipresent, because it is a crazy Pokemon, I mean, Cosmic Power is the best draw engine ever printed, and it probably will ever be printed. Put two cards on the bottom of your deck, which means if you have a large hand size, it prevents deck out. If you have a small hand size, it's just fitting your hand to draw extra cards, which is really good. And since it's so omnipresent, I figured, alright, I'm going to announce Gmax Rapid Flow and my opponents will cry. And they sure did.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Your finals games were against Arceus V-Star, and like watching Arceus buckle under Urshifu was just astounding.
Weakness is one hell of a drug, I have to say.
It really is. I thought the whole time that you guys were playing back and forth, I was like, okay, I'm going to see a weakness policy. I'm going to see a Dunsparce. I'm going to see something to make this matchup not so awful. And it just didn't happen.
Nope. Item luck was really devastating, though. I almost lost our match at Swiss because of it, but he misplayed because he forgot about Blacephalon's first attack. The bird would have killed it or Shifu, and he did not have a Guzma while I strafed away.
Ooh. Oh,
And I had game next turn. Yeah,
oh, that's
so
crazy to
lost to
hear.
Slide and Swiss, but the finals matches were way more convincing.
The finals matches were quite fun to watch. One of the things I'm looking at your deck list now. One of the things that really stood out to me when I was watching your games earlier was Pokedrawer Plus. Watching you get Rapid Strike energy off of Pokedrawer and then just literally whatever other card you needed. That was just crazy good.
Yeah, it's insane. The Greens engine is honestly really good. Like most of my games, if I'm going second, which I want to go second because of greens, I would usually like level ball for Lapras and the Lapras for greens, and then I would greens for whatever I needed. I would get like Battle VIP Pass, I would get Floatstone, I would get Professor's Letter if it wasn't priced, which it very often was, unfortunately. And if you have one drawer in hand, you can get the second drawer of the greens and the second card off of greens and poke a drawer for any two cards, which is fantastic because it can get Pokemon without wasting your ball search. It can get energy cards, which greens does not get. Most importantly, Rapid Strike energy was a thing I did a lot.
Sure. So one thing I noticed too, your list runs Darkrai GX, which it has an ability. Did you in your testing did you ever run into an issue with that ability in Green's exploration?
I never ran into an issue with Darkrai GX in testing. I did start with it in game two of top four, but I did not really care that much.
So at that point you knew you were gonna get it anyway.
Yeah. I was up 1-0 against Shocklock. I knew that no matter what happened, I could lose game two, it would go to time, it would go to sudden death, and I would win sudden death.
Right.
As long as I wasn't 1-0 down from being milled, I was doing very fine.
Fair enough. So then Darkrai really didn't pose much of a problem. Now we talked a little bit about Darkrai, about how what your decision was in playing it. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, since I wanted to play Urshifu, I was wondering what variant of Urshifu should I play. I know Mysterious Player has an Urshifu deck in his deck repository. It's straight Urshifu with Regirock from Legends Awakened, which discard two cards from your hand, and accelerated fighting energy from discard pile to Regirock. And then you would move that fighting energy with Stark Mount over to Rapid Striker Shifu, so you can chain Gmax Rapid Flows over and over. I decided against doing that. I wanted to play Darker Shifu because I figured people in the Cube server were discussing a little bit about Dragapult VMAX with Green's exploration. since it can use double rainbow energy, since it's an evolution Pokemon. It can use Briney's Compassion. You could do so much of that. I think it's really powerful, even though it wasn't played. And I didn't want to play the Galarian Moltres package because, well, firstly, Darkrai's my favorite Pokemon, so I wanted to play that instead. And Darkrai GX Restoration, it can bring itself out from a discard pile, when with Ultra Balls, computer searches, and stuff. That's not very hard, and accelerate a Darkness energy from the discard pile to it. And in one turn, you can go Restoration, Raihan, attach for turn, and then Raihan can search for either, say, the third energy you're missing. It could search for whatever. But the idea would be to search for something like super effective glasses, which I played over a choice band or belt because I wasn't sure if people were playing Vs or Vmaxes. And muscle band doesn't quite get there against Vmaxes, so super effective glasses was the choice. And the one of Hypnotoxic Laser for Dead End GX, it can just steal games out of nowhere.
Yeah, especially in the format where you have 2 and 3 prize card Pokemon. That's just
Yeah.
so. One thing I have to ask, and I didn't ask this originally, but I think I have to ask this. So, since Eternal format has such a wide card pool, how did you go about testing? How did you even think, like, how did you even start testing for Eternal?
So the first thing I did was a lot of gold fishing. I did a lot of gold fishing to make sure that if consistency was good. I have a lot of decks I built, but most of them were pretty bad. Like the consistency just simply was not there. And but the consistency in this deck was there. And I had someone test with me. We built quite a few decks. We played a lot of jank together, and I would play Urshifu into all of that jank. And it did pretty well. And I mean, basically, if I had an idea, I would think, can you play this? And you probably can.
It's crazy because, yeah, like you said, if I have an idea, can you play this? Yeah, you probably can, because the Eternal format has so many cards in it. You can find
Yeah.
support for basically anything you want to play. That's true.
Yeah, the only thing that I really knew about the meta was that Necrogarb was probably still pretty good, and all the other top archetypes from the previous tournament got hammered by nerfs. Sylveon VMAX lost Kecleon, which, one guy on the bench and you hit 340. That's a little good.
It was
And
a little
Colored,
too good.
yeah, and Hollowed Circle Lock lost Spiritomb, but I think the deck is, I mean, some people would say it's unplayable. I'm sure you could make it work. It's just not good or worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. And it
And
also lost Lusamine, which also hurts it bad.
oh yeah, Lusamine is
Yeah,
definitely, yeah. Control cries without Lusamine or Dual Brains Magnezone. That's another card that Control would like.
yeah, and it lost that too. Um, so I guess the final question I'll ask you is there anything, now that you've played quite a few games in a tournament structure, uh, with other decks that maybe you hadn't seen prior, is there something you would change about your deck?
Well, this deck went undefeated, so I wouldn't really change much. The fact that Darkrai didn't do anything was sad, but it's fine because their Shifu worked well enough.
For sure. Well, thank you for doing this interview, not just once but twice. Again, thank you for doing this interview with the technical difficulties. It was great to have you in the tournament, and again, congratulations on taking first place. I hope to see you on August 20th.
Yeah, of course.